Individualist anarchism. Individualist anarchism is composed of several traditions which hold that individual conscience in the pursuit of self-interest should not be constrained by any collective body or public authority. It has had several major influences: Thomas Jefferson, Pierre Proudhon's mutualism, and the natural rights theory of classical liberalism, among others. Individualist anarchism has been particularly strong in the USA from the time of Warren through to Murray Rothbard, who called his philosophy anarcho-capitalism, Kevin Carson, and others in the mid-19th century in the US. Henry David Thoreau foresaw the inevitability of self-government, accompanied by atrophy of the state, arguing the state's only power was what individuals see to it, but offered no practical program for social change.
Stirner's egoism. Maximum Stirner, one of the earliest and best-known proponents of individualist anarchism, wrote The Ego and Its Own, 1844, a founding text of the philosophy. Stirner's philosophy was an egoist form of individualist anarchism, where the individual does as he pleases, taking no notice of God, state, or moral rules. Society has no responsibility for its members. To Stirner, rights are spooks in the mind, and society does not exist, but the individuals are its reality. Stirner preached self-assertion, and foresaw associations of egoists where respect for ruthlessness drew people together. Stirner suggests property is a matter of might, rather than moral right. What my might reaches is my property, and let me claim as property everything I feel myself strong enough to attain, and let me extend my actual property as fast as I entitle, that is, empower myself to take. He influenced American individualist anarchists and Emma Goldman, who lectured on his thought. The Boston Anarchists, a less radical form of individualist anarchism, was advocated by the Boston Anarchists, who were individualists supporting private property and a free market. For them, liberty and property should be protected by private contractors funded in a free market, not by the state. Like Marxists and social anarchists, they believed that state monopoly capitalism, identified as a state-sponsored monopoly, didn't fully reward labor. But unlike social anarchists, individualists endorsed exchange of labor for wages. The 19th century individualists argued, state-imposed economic regulation put the means of production in few hands, and that by having a free market private ownership would be dispersed. Individualists like Tucker wanted more self-employment, but didn't want to prevent people from carrying on business for themselves, or from assuming relations between themselves as employer and employee if they prefer. Individualists disagreed on various issues. Lysander Spooner supported intellectual property rights, and permitted absentee land ownership. Stephen T. Byington also opposed Benjamin Tucker's occupancy and use requirements, while all supported private property and free markets, causing some to consider them pro-capitalist. Some, like Tucker, called themselves socialist. At the time, the term socialism was a broad concept, with Tucker understanding socialism to refer to many ideas aimed to solve the labor problem by radically changing the econ. They also called themselves anti-capitalist, defining capitalism as state-maintained monopolization of capital. A major cleft occurred later in the 19th century when Tucker, and some others, abandoned natural rights, and converted to an egoism modeled upon Stirnerism, claiming the only right naturally existing is the right of might, and that other rights only come into existence if people decide to limit their might over each other. They did not have a problem that one man employ another, or that he direct him in his labor, but demanded that all natural opportunities requisite to the production of wealth be accessible to all on equal terms, and that monopolies arising from special privileges created by law be abolished. By the beginning of the 20th century, individualist anarchism in America was declining. The heyday of individualist anarchism had passed. In the words of Paul Avrich Point, it was later revived with modifications by Murray Rothbard and the anarcho-capitalists in the mid-20th century, forming part of the broader movement known as libertarianism. Rothbard said individualist anarchists could easily incorporate Austrian economics, discard their monetary theories, which he argued were flawed, and reconsider the nature and justification of the economic categories of interest, rent, and profit. Today, most who call themselves individualist anarchists follow Rothbard's economics.
Social anarchism. Social anarchism is an umbrella term used to identify a broad category of anarchism independent of individualist anarchism. Where individualist forms of anarchism emphasize personal autonomy and the rational nature of human beings, social anarchism sees individual freedom as conceptually connected with social equality, and emphasize community and mutual aid. Social anarchism is used to specifically describe anarchist tendencies within anarchism that have an emphasis on the communitarian and cooperative aspects of anarchist theory and practice. Social anarchism includes, but is not limited to, collectivist anarchism, anarcho-communism, libertarian socialism, anarcho-syndicalism and social ecology.